Oh, good morning, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth. Today is October 22nd, 2010. It's Friday and it's almost 7 a.m. Using room lighting, by the way. There's an overhead light and a lamp over here I tell you this information because a lot of you that watch these videos like to make videos of your own. Microphone is the blue is a manufacturer, and it's called the Snowball. I'm not going to mention anything about blue balls this morning. I made that mistake one morning. Using webcam. No, I'm using. Actually, I'm using webcam. No, I'm using Logitech software. The Logitech software along with the QuickCam Pro 9000 camera. This is my video log for today. I've got this setting also, I've got it on follow my face. I made a video several years ago and I had the camera quite a ways away, but I had it on follow my face and I had zoomed in on my crotch. Yeah. It kept zooming in on my crotch. I had a couple people leave a comment, why are you aiming the camera at your penis, you know? I wasn't, it was on automatic, so let's hope we do better this time. Wanted to cover a couple, I made some notes. I never make notes. I made some notes. Probably a mistake. When I was in the hospital the other day, I had my LG Rumor touch phone with me, and it did not work out well. I never use it I don't even make phone calls with it. I almost never used a phone. I did a review on it here. I've got the Virgin Mobile plan, $25 a month, 300 minutes, which I probably don't use 500 minutes or 5 minutes a month. Unlimited data. Anyway, I took it and it was kind of useless to me. I've checked since then a little bit, and there's a service, I think there's a couple, but there's one service that would have worked out great, except I hadn't heard about it and I hadn't signed up for it. And that one, you post an email to the site. What the heck's it called? Oh, anyway. I'll be covering it later, I'm sure. And it distributes to your bulletin board system along with the photo there. That would have worked great. But so the LG Touch Rumor, or LG Rumor Touch, it didn't do me much good when I was in the hospital. I always check, just about every day I check to see why are people coming to my blog. What are they using to search to come to my blog? And man, I get every day a ton of people are searching using Google or Bing or something else for swimming in American nude. So I just wanted to comment on that. Believe it or not, now if you're in France or Spain or someplace else, you may not, unless you don't understand the United States, you may not understand the sort of significance of this. Right now, and since I don't know when, but the United States has this hang-up about sex. Oh my God, they're showing their ankle. I mean, of course, you wouldn't think that from the movies and videos that are made and all that kind of stuff, but people just, I don't know what it is. Here in the United States, right-wing, conservative religion, I'm not sure what it is, but back in the, I guess, 40s and the 50s, in the United States, in high schools, at the YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association, when you went, if you were a male and you went swimming in high school or at the YMCA, you swam naked. That was the rule. No swimsuits allowed. Had something to do with their filtration system. It wasn't very good back then for the swimming pools. And nobody thought anything about it. They had swimming meets, I guess, and there's different stories. And anyway, I commented on this a couple times in my blog, and it got indexed, so I got a ton of people coming, doing a search, and every day they end up at my blog. But it's just so amazing that back in the, maybe even the early 60s, a boy could go to high school, and for gym or swimming class, the entire class swam naked. The world didn't come to an end. Nobody thought anything about it. It was just the way it was done. And the same with, and I really didn't realize this till fairly recently. When I was in grade school, I think it was, my mother dropped me off at the projects to spend the day and the night with my cousin. He was a year younger than I was, and they were poor. And of course, I wasn't rich, you know. But I think we were probably middle class. But so I got dropped off over there, and my aunt said, "Oh, you know, Billy is swimming at the YMCA. Why don't you go over there and you can swim over there?" And of course, I didn't know how to swim, and but I said, "Well, I don't have a swimsuit." And she said, "Oh, you're not allowed to have swimsuits. They don't have swimsuits there." And I, what? So I started over there to meet him at the YMCA, and then I met him coming back, and I said, Willie, that was his mother, I said, she said that you don't have swimsuits. And he said, no, they don't allow swimsuits there. I thought, until fairly recently, until a few years ago, I thought that that was because that YMCA was in a poor neighborhood and maybe kids couldn't afford swimsuits, so that, but it's not the case. It was, we had YMCAs everywhere. That was the rule, no swimsuits allowed. And now the United States has come to this crazy, but, you know, I mean, it's just, if some school had a policy, I mean, it's just, America is just, I mean, why was that okay for decades, I guess, a decade or 2 decades, or since, I don't know, maybe since the founding of the country, that, and now, it, you know. Also, I see a few people, again, are being sent to my blog because it is blah, 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 being sent to my blog because of search for poisonous spider, and that's one of those things. There's a new poisonous spider out. You know, you'll sit on a toilet and it'll even tell you when, you know. They get this email, and I forget whether it's Denny's or where, oh, you sit on the toilet seat and this spider, and people are dying left and right. They're falling over. It's Night of the Living Dead, you know, and of course it's fake. But the thing, I can tell when the email is going around again, because same with Little People, Big World. I don't have cable TV anymore. And I don't usually like, what do they call it? Not live. Oh, anyway, whatever. Those type of shows that are supposed to be unscripted. But I did like Little People, Big World. I was just fascinated to see how they lived their life, how they functioned. Everything was really neat, and they were a neat family. But back when I was watching the show, there was that episode, and it was the last episode in a season where they had the accident at the farm, where the pumpkin slinger, cannon, propeller goes around, whatever happened. And when it was kind of strange when the season ended. That was like the accident happened. Matt, the father, goes racing down on the scooter, and the ambulance is called or whatever, and then the season ends. I guess you call it a cliffhanger. I don't think they maybe necessarily intended it that way, but they didn't really give any much explanation. Well, of course, by the time I saw the episode, it had already been in the newspapers and on, well, who reads newspapers? It was, online, and I just had missed it. So I went and looked it up and saw, what happened, and I blogged about it. That was many years ago. Because I was watching the show, and because I also thought, hey, this is interesting here, that all of a sudden, and then, anyway, I blogged about the thing. Well, now I can tell, and I got a lot of hits. I got a lot of traffic right away because other people had watched it. I didn't think of that, I just blogged about, I just watched this show, but I looked up what happened, and here's what happened, and here's the links to it. But now I can tell when they're running their reruns and when they run that episode, because I'll get not a lot, but I get some traffic. There'll be people doing a search. So that's interesting. So I saw Little People, Big World, a few searches, and they were sent to my blog, so I know the episode must have just appeared. What I find very interesting, I've done a couple of videos on YouTube, and one of the videos is I forget the exact title, but who invented the blog? And I say I invented the blog, and I tell you in the video how I lay claim to that, which I really don't. There's another video I think in there too where I explain, about the beginning of the blog, and but it's interesting that I see occasionally somebody did a search for who invented the blog, and on Google, I didn't check today, but on Google, I'm the first one up at the top of the search page there. I had somebody who left a comment said, "Hey, dude, how did you get at the top of the search thing?" That's my notes, and I've used up 12 minutes, but I think let me quickly jump from my daily blog, over to, I thought I had CNN listed here. Well, I can type in CNN. There it is. And the story here, the nuke codes lost during President Clinton's, man. I mean, of course, it's not as bad as it sounds. It wasn't, nobody's going to, I found the nuke codes, and they're not going to dial the telephone, dial the operator and say, launch please, I have the codes, and, it was the code to get into the briefcase that would allow the president, but still, it's really interesting. Cholera outbreak in Haiti, a British nuclear sub stuck off of Scotland. I found the story, U.S. Air Marshals, two U.S. Air Marshals on a flight from Texas, I think it was, to Brazil, and there's a drunk lady who is disorderly, and they arrest her, and then they land in Brazil, and she's the wife of a judge, a Brazilian judge, and they end up getting arrested. I found that interesting. And Killer Bees, I can't talk. Killer Bees blamed for a Georgia man's death. I've got family members who, now let's see, my ex-mother-in-law or whatever, I guess she had an allergic reaction to a bee sting, and she has to keep not adrenaline, whatever it is, around it, because if she had another sting, something could happen to her. When I was married, I was trying to, and I found that out, I was trying to plant flowers around the house there, everything I could to encourage bees to come. But yeah, I've got family, and maybe because of that, I've got some family members. You know, they may have heard about. They see a bee. A bee, a bee. You know, my God. Of course, I'm sure if I dropped over, you know, and passed out from a bee sting, I guess I'd probably run in from bees in the future also. And this really a bad. Of course, you hear stories about diabetes, and here's another one. Diabetes cases may triple by 2050. Thank God diabetes does not run in my family. Thank God I don't have it. And if you've been following my blog, you know there was a time when my doctor, a new doctor that I went to, he says, "I think you're diabetic." And I said, "No, yes, my blood, you know, was close, you know, up there, but no, it doesn't run in my." He said, "Yeah, I think you got it." And he did the next test, the little advanced test that they do, and oh no, okay, you don't have it. But diabetes is, and I worked hospital security for 30 years, and I spent, depending on the hospital that I worked at different hospitals. I worked at St. Joseph Hospital, Kansas City, Missouri, Trinity Lutheran Hospital, Kansas City, Missouri, Research Medical Center, Kansas City, Missouri, Belton Hospital, in Belton, Missouri, Menorah Medical Center in Kansas City, Missouri, and I even ended up, I don't even want to think about that, but I even worked in the Orlando area. It wasn't part-time, went down there, and I was already retired, but I decided I'll do something, make a few extra bucks. I went over to a contract guard agency and said, "Hey, you know, what do you got sitting at a desk? You know, whoops, you worked hospital security. We want you to be in charge of." No. And I ended up in charge of this contract guard agency at a hospital. It's unbelievable. Oh, the hospital was a for-profit hospital. It was, I can't even say it was managed. It was just everything I saw. Of course, security, you know, looking at the security aspect of it, I mean, they didn't want security even in the hospital. You stay in a parking lot. If something happens, you guys are allowed to come in. Other than that, stay in. I mean, it was just, but everything about everything, their emergency room, the way it was operated, the way they did triaging of patients, everything I saw, lost and found, everything was a disaster at that hospital. But how did I get sidetracked on that? I was talking about working at all these different hospitals. But why was I talking about working at all these different hospitals? When did my brain start to turn to mush? Or was my brain always mush? I don't remember. But I have used up 18 minutes and 30 seconds of your life that you will never get back. I took it. I sucked the life out of it. So, okay, there goes that Zoom. There goes the Zoom. Come back. Return. Please. There we go. Follow the hand. I want to thank you for watching and listening, and that's the end of my video blog for October 22nd, the year of our Lord, 2010. Thank you very much.